Hello and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series Division B East. Tonight I am your host Cat Beach and I have with me on the other side of things than usual Bahamut. Bahamut, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am so excited for a nice matchup between these two teams. And actually, the funny thing is, too, Beast Coast was one of the teams that I got to cast last night, so I get a little bit of kind of an advantage on knowledge on them. But I'm excited to be going into this series. This is going to be a great matchup between these two teams. Do we get to see the Samuro from Stark?
Ooh.
And do we get to see some big plays coming out of Beast Coast? Because they had some very, very strong plays last night.
Yeah, and I was actually interested in asking you a bit about how they were performing. Let's give folks a rundown of what we had for picks and bans. So map bans coming out. We had Braxis Holdout and Dragonshire banned out for this evening. So first game, as you see, we are going to Infernal Shrines, and later tonight we'll be going to Sky Temple. So that is our set for the evening. So yeah, I am curious about how Beast Coast did, because I'm not very familiar with that team. I know a bit more about Gilly-Shark from previous seasons. So what did you gain out of that first initial match that you casted from them?
The one thing that I will say is that they definitely have some strong synergies with their team, but their early game seems to be fumbled a little bit in some situations, and then they've really, once they hit that 7 to 10 range, they really start to rocket and take a lot of team fights. And I think that's the one thing that Beast Coast offers into Gilly-Shark here is a strong team fight. But at the same time, Gilly-Shark themselves, they really don't back down easily. So this is going to be, I think we're going to get a lot of good brawls coming out between these two teams, and I'm just ecstatic for it.
Yeah, and given the Snap Diablo pick coming out of Gilly-Shark as well, just shows how confident they are going into this. I think they have a plan going into Shrines. This isn't even their map pick, so being able to pick up your Diablo like that really shows that you're not here to play. However, first picking Ragnaros on the side of Beast Coast, also showing quite some bravery there.
Now, actually, Ragnaros, if I'm not mistaken, was a hero they played twice last night. They played it on Tomb, and they also played it on Dragonshire, so they're not really afraid to play it on those maps that wouldn't really be considered a main Ragnaros map. But the thing is, Infernal Shrines, definitely a place. I've picked Ragnaros up, and then you've got 37 Skeletal Defenders. You can't work your way in. Pop Molten Core, steal them away, and then you get the Punisher. So I absolutely love the pickup here. Murden's great for the initiation, but the thing is, the synergy from Gilly-Shark here, Cat Peach. Diablo, Janna, and Phoenix?
Yes, so many slows, mind you, to help out with potential Purification Salvo, or if you wanted to do something really cheeky with Ring of Frost Planet Cracker, that's up in the open too. But yeah, very, I would say, currently meta picks coming out. They understand how they're going to play well together. And I also like the Malfurion route coming out just to make sure there's not that extra lockdown on the side of Gilly-Shark to assist with any of that.
And to be honest, at this point, either they ban out a solo lane or they don't want to deal with on the side of Gilly-Shark, or they just limit that hero. Oh, they limit the support pool, but they're going to go ahead and take out the Gul'dan. Another notable thing that I saw last night on their Tomb of the Spider Queen game, they played a phenomenal Gul'dan. So definitely getting rid of that is a strong pickup. The other thing, too, is both teams have taken out significant shrine clear, and realistically, Gilly-Sharks are the ones sitting on a massive amount of quick clear onto these shrines for the Skeletal Defenders. We're going to have to see what they pick up in this 3/4 slot here, Cat Peach.
Yeah, coming up, Rhaegar? Gleaming. Interesting. Ooh, Stukov. I like it. I'm a huge sucker for Stukov, so,
Oh,
and
boy.
again, with the slow follow-up to assist Phoenix, this is going to be all about Phoenix going into this, I think, and making sure... Oh, golly!
I didn't see what... I don't know. I don't think there was a last pick. Just F. But we're currently gonna have a DC from one of the players here. We'll get the lobby back going. They'll burn through their picks really quickly, and then we'll find out what that last pick is. Unless they just want to tell us, I'm not sure. I like how it's just blame Stark already in chat too. And it's from their own teammate,
right?
But the one thing I wanted to note on that composition that they were currently building on the side of Gilly Shark is you noted those slows, and that is a huge aspect. That entire composition revolves around Phoenix. I mean, even just the slows from Stukov are going to be enough if they get into a straight line. And with all these pinch points, I can't imagine a scenario where the Phoenix really just gets a lot of value here. But at the same time, I had talked last night a lot about, at the start of this actually, about Beast Coast last night. They're a very, very strong team, and especially into that mid to late game, I think they really start to explode and start to just blow up in their skill levels and as well as their team fighting ability. So I don't know. I'm curious what that last pick is going to be.
Yeah, I know.
Really want to know.
Just catching up.
Hold on, sorry. It's,
Until then, I know this is interesting, and apparently there's a slight echo, so let me know if that has gone away. Everyone at home, thank you for your patience. We are still waiting on Monkus over on the side on Beast Coast. But yeah, the draft, as you were saying, from Gilly Shark is just one of those. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. And even though things like, I mean, a good Li Ming can be equally as terrifying, but there's just so much availability and consistency, and it's one of those things where if Jaina misses something, then Thrall can potentially follow it up. Like, there are ways to make up for if anyone else seems to be faltering a little bit in this first game. So lots of backup options and just lots of circles that are going to result in people dying, I think.
I don't know, like, it's those resets from Li Ming. If they just get the resets, then it's gonna be their game to roll. And Infernal Shrines, it's a really strong kind of snowbally map. If you know, the first Punisher, it doesn't get a ton of value, but then you start to progress in those, you know, that second, that third, the map starts to open up. You really can't, you know, soak too far down the lanes. It's, oh man, I don't know who I would give it over to, at least at this point in the draft. I think we currently have the last member getting back in here after those DCs. I think they stabilized, and we're just currently getting ourselves set up for this match. Thank you all for being here and supporting. Also, Broiled Beef. I just looked over at the chat, just rated with 13 people.
Oh, thank you, Broiled Beef. Welcome, everyone. I hope your initial game was good earlier today over with them. We are just taking care of some technical issues over here before we get started with game number 1 of Gilly Shark versus Beast Coast for tonight. It looks like still potentially some power issues going on for someone. So we just have to see if they can reboot their router and get back and set up.
Yeah, I mean, router issues aside, going into Infernal Shrines, we can talk a little bit about that map and some of the rotations we're going to be seeing. And, you know, off the top of my head, just some of the picks, and at least the way that it was looking for either side, we're going to be having like a Thrall solo laning into a Ragnaros. And that's a little bit different than what they play. Also, the Ragnaros that they play isn't the standard, you know, Salfir's Hungers or your just easily called meatball build. It's actually, we have the Fuel the Flame at level 1 often from Monkus, who plays this Ragnaros, and a little bit of a different build, but it really, you see it kind of in as their composition, and I keep saying it kind of is exploding a little bit. That gets so much value into the late game, being able to, you know, pass those flames on to some people, get a little bit of a speed boost to them, as well as get one your own. And then just, you know, as people stack and fight over, you know, tight points like this, he gets a lot of value. So this Ragnaros, I'm really, really excited to see how it's going to be working out for them. But it looks like I think they actually said their final pick.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a troll or not, or that's going to be... I want to make sure, because like sometimes teams they'll say something and it's just like, I can see that happening. I wasn't expecting that.
Right, and I mean,
not what I was expecting for their last pick.
And I mean, if that is the pick, then early game Beast Coast, it's going to be a very interesting situation. We are getting confirmation. So pick number 5 from Beast Coast will be Zagara.
I like it, but at the same time, I don't know how I feel about it. I think it can get a lot of value, but on the same hand, I think it can also get really destroyed, especially with all the tools that they have, they can wipe out that creep fairly easily.
Absolutely. It does give a bit of an interesting option for the solo lane, because we talked about the Ragnaros, and now you have potentially Zagara if she chooses to kind of roam around and push out lanes instead, allowing Ragnaros to be a bit more in your face, engaging in more skirmishes throughout the map. But I mean, both teams now have really solid wave clear options, really excellent, poke potential on the other team as well. It's more about if Beast Coast can actually pull that off, because it's definitely a non-standard draft, and you can be confident in those heroes individually, but can you be confident with them as a whole is really going to be the test.
That's the thing and looking over at Gilly Shark, it's going to come down to the burden of execution. I mean, you can talk about this with any team, any composition, but they have a composition that really heavily relies on not everyone getting their heroics and hitting the R button at the right time, but it's also being able to set up position, get that Diablo in a body blocking position, and that lightning breath. You have the earthquake from Thrall, and then just making sure Phoenix can get the purification salvo swipe onto everyone and actually lock onto those targets, because you can set everything up, but if the enemy team knows to back off right away, then you're not going to get the damage that you're looking for, and you've just burned all of your heroics. Now you need to back up, and you need to play a safer game. So I'm looking over at the stream, and apparently I am.
Oh, you are freaking out, my dear goodness.
I love this. I love this. We just get like a little bit of a nice like trance party over on my side of the stream.
You're just raving over there. Yeah, that is quite interesting. Thanks, little computer. I appreciate you. We're all apparently having internet issues today over on this channel, on this stream, so can't get too upset about it. But to follow up on something you were saying, it would be really excellent, I think, if Beast Coast can almost trick Gilly Shark into maybe throwing out a couple of those heroics in kind of a panic sense, to bait them out a little bit, making sure that they don't necessarily have the big combos that they're probably aiming to hit, and then following it up with their own engagement when they've held back everything that they could, and kind of sway the fight that way. Because I think if that's not the case, they're definitely going to have a rough time post 10. They might be able to hang on, pre-10, but I think later in the stages, especially if they can't seem to get themselves their own level lead or structure lead or something like that, that it's going to be very hard for them to come back to.
Yeah, that is. It's all going to depend, I think, on that later half of the game. But I think the teams are going to confirm that they're all ready to go. We'll swap our mode over here. We're going to get these teams ready to go. And Cat Peach, I know you're excited.
I'm very excited. Let's hope.
We're getting a Zagara game. Like, that's the thing.
I don't think I can't remember if I've ever casted Zagara, to be entirely honest.
I know in season 2 it was really, really big in Div B. And it was played. I think I casted it almost every time I got to cast Alaska during that season. God, just a shout out to Alaska, the Div B champs from that season. But I don't know. Like, I gotta say, like this series, I'm really, really excited about it. The Zagara is going to be a big thing, but we're currently going to be loading into the map and predictions. I know we've talked a lot about synergies, all that. Who do you think, though, names aside, discussions aside, who do you think overall takes this, just purely based on what you're seeing, in this loading screen?
I honestly still have to give it to Gilly Shark. I just think the potential there is far too great. Once all those heroics come online, and as someone who plays a lot of Jaina and Thrall myself, I might have a little bit of bias there. However, I just think it's a more reliable draft overall, and especially on something like Infernal Shrines, like, you can get away with less cheeky stuff on this map, so that is my thought.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, as the map does open up, it is very difficult to make some of those sly rotations and to catch some of the teams out of place. But let's get into this. Go ahead and take us away, Cat Peach.
All right, so game number 1. Here on the left, we have Gilly Shark. We're going to have Kaimo Tripson on Stukov, Chess Looter on Phoenix, Kage Kiri on Jaina, Stark on Diablo, and Zilla on Thrall.
And on the right-hand side, we are going to be having Beast Coast with Lothran going to be on the Muradin, Munkus is going to be on the Ragnaros, Sippagoat going to be on the Li Ming, Sierras is going to be on that Rhaegar, and in the top lane on that Zagara, we're going to have Mig.
Yeah, and I super want to keep an eye on that Zagara, because I think that's either going to be the tipping hero, the hero that really makes everything come together, or the hero that can't get a lot done and ends up kind of backfiring on the terms of Beast Coast. The respect sprays coming out from both teams here in mid as they begin to clear this lane, poke a little bit, see if they can punish some early mistakes.
Nothing just yet. Stark going to be going on to Muradin, but in this top lane, Zilla is going to be pushing into Mig, who's trying to just get that pressure onto the top gate right out of the bat. And we are going to be having those Banelings picked up at level 1. That volatile acid is going to get so much value for that Zagara as they get this free push availability.
Yeah, and Kakekiri staying here in mid while the rest of these teams rotate to bottom, trying to get that additional focus right now on Kaimo Tripson. It's going to be able to sneak away. But very quick rotation coming out from both teams. We have camps already up, but Phoenix ends up being dived on and is going to be the first blood in this game. And quickly falling, we're going to see Beast Coast now quickly rotating mid, trying to make sure they're not losing on any of the soak that they miss as they all rotated down bottom.
That butt bite from Rhaegar was going to be just enough, but in top lane, they respond. The clap back from Gillishark going to go ahead and pick up the kill onto Zagara, and that's, I would say, a little bit more, that's more impactful than getting the kill onto the Phoenix, and mostly because of the fact that now it gives the opportunity for Creep to be cleared, as well as you have to force your Rhaegar to be in the solo lane up into the Thrall, and that's not going to work out too well. So basically, the top lane's reset, and it's kind of 0-0, at least in lane control, between the Thrall and the Zagara.
Yeah, the creep clear is really important to note. Given that it was last pick, it's not something that Gillishark could necessarily pick to say, hey, we are picking our heroes in order to clear that creep, but they actually have a lot of tools in their tool belt in order to deal with that. So kind of interesting for that Zagara pick to come out at the end, even with that being the fact. Both teams picking up their respective siege camps here in the bottom, getting a little bit of push there that should eventually cancel out in the mid lane.
Yeah, these camps are, I wouldn't say like a formality, but it's you know, you pick up this rotation only to literally have the enemy team go ahead and clear it out, but Mig and top lane getting pressured, actually getting zoned away. They're going to try and get some damage out here, but if Stark gets the shadow charge, that's the healing from Rhaegar is going to be enough, and they actually don't get the pick onto the Zagara, but they get the counter kill, and that is going to be the stacks we set on the Frost Wolf Pack. There we go.
Yeah, that is, I mean, we always talk about, you know, picks before the shrine, not too great. Cooldown timer still pretty low. Thrall will be back more momentarily. But being able to turn around and save that Zagara right there was such a clutch move on the side of Beast Coast, and gives them the opportunity to start clearing out this shrine first and starting to get the lead on those skeletal defenders.
But Gillishark, they're going to contest this as best they can, as Munkus is going to be the target of Stark here, just trying to pull them back into the enemy team. A lot of damage coming out from Kakekiri, and they will confirm the kill onto Ragnaros. So now that they got that kill, they're going to play this a little bit safe. Zagara will be poking in with those Banelings, just trying to get some damage here. Muradin in a little bit of a bad spot. No Dwarf House used just yet. They're going to get out. The rest of the team kind of migrating towards the top of the shrine to get more. But the thing is, the poke damage coming out from the members of Beast Coast is really getting a lot of value here on this shrine, as the Muradin once again just dropping in just to be a nuisance.
Yeah, Lothrian getting a bit low, gonna allow that trait to proc so they can get a bit more health recharge. But even the health bars on the side of Gillishark getting low now, with Molten Core being popped. Ragnaros is assaulting Kaimo Tripson, who is going to fall here. The follow-up trying to come up on Saris as well. Two members, one from each respective team down. Stark in a little bit of trouble, tries to shadow charge in order to stun and get away. Should be fine getting out of there, but first Punisher going over to the side of Beast Coast here. Munkus with the clutch Molten Core there, Bahamut.
And that's the big thing. That's what I talked about in draft. The benefit of having Ragnaros on a map like this, we saw them. They just backed up. It was 37 skeletal defenders. They got the 3 that or so that they needed. At one point, I did see, ooh, actually Stark in a little bit of a bad spot here. Sun's going to come out from Kaimo Tripson. But at one point I was looking, it was 39-39, and when the Punisher actually got picked up, I was just like, whose is it? Because both teams had the availability for that pickup, but they went ahead and got it on the side of Beast Coast, and they'll continue back to their rotations. But look at this top lane. Zagara getting so much creep out, and this is exactly what she needs to do. Zilla doesn't want to waste any sort of abilities or anything to try and clear that out, because gonna need them all just to clear into Mig here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing to note too is that creep gonna help Zagara be so much of a nuisance in that late game, just not being able to catch her or potentially not even be able to kill her given the armor trait that could come in later on in this game. So definitely gonna keep an eye out for that. And yeah, it's gonna take so much from Gillishark to focus on clearing this if they want, or they can say, you know what, have the vision, we'll try to trick you on the map elsewhere and then be able to do something about that creep. But if you let Zagara's creep for way too long without clearing it, turns into quite a big problem for your team.
Oh god, the Zerg infestation across the map is not something you ever want to deal with. But the thing is, while they're kind of making these rotations to top and helping get the clear and maybe trying to find a pick, the members of Beast Coast, they're just rotating around the bottom lane and just picking up camp after camp and just creating pressure. Now, granted, yes, they do have people soaking up the lanes. They're really not falling too far behind on experience. We're talking about a couple hundred difference between the two teams. But it's one of those things that is just, I don't know if Zagara really needs this much attention. And meanwhile, they're getting these free pushes in mid and bottom. I don't know. I'm curious to see how Gillishark is going to play this, because the experience is starting to go over a little bit in favor for Beast Coast here.
Yeah, just a little bit. And that's one of those things about the small decisions that you make that make quite a big impact on the game. And a lot of people think you must focus on the Zagara and not let her have free reign. But if it takes you 4 members of your team to do that, there's so much you're losing else on the map. And we're just going to see level 10 picked up sooner here for Beast Coast as well, given that exact scenario.
And this is really where I think they start to shine as a team. They really start to get aggressive and start to play harder into these team fights. I do like that the camp on the left-hand side is going to be a bit picked up from Gillishark. That should time out fairly well with the Punisher, but the thing is, oh, they leave it, but there's the invade. Kaimo Chips are going to stay on it, but Murden going to be jumping in, and that is going to be the blow up onto Stukov and a free camp for Beast Coast.
A free camp, a free kill. Kaimo thought they would be okay by themselves, and the quick punish, the quick rotation to take this top fort as well, with that camp pushing in as well, is worst case scenario at this current moment in time for the members of Gillishark. They're going to have to wait for their support to come back before they can really think about engaging on this shrine, which is going to give Beast Coast yet again time to get a head start on those skeletal defenders.
Being able to grab the shrine in the top right, or excuse me, the camp in the top right as well, that's an amazing factor, because now Gillishark, they're going to focus all their energy onto the shrine. They don't want to give over a Punisher, but the thing is, that camp in top lane will get a lot of value. They need to move quick here, and you can already see that happening. Sundering actually going to be coming out from Zilla. No Earthquake, currently going to be having the Lightning Breath coming out. The Ring of Frost is going to be there as well, confirming 1 kill already. We're going to have the Purification Salvo getting the Murden, as well as the Li Meng. Monk is just so low, trying to get that boost out, but it's not going to be happening, as the only one left is that Zagara getting behind the gate, and this is the dream scenario for Gillishark.
Right, taking a nightmare, turning it into a dream. It did allow Gillishark to say, all right, we're going to wait, we're going to regroup, we're not going to be impatient here. And seeing that combination of the slows, the Ring of Frost, in order to facilitate that Purification Salvo as well is a glorious example of how well that works. I was also surprised by that Sundering coming out from Thrall. But it is going to work out for them, and it's going to also give Gillishark an opportunity, with all those kills, to grab a camp of their own to help push back that mid lane, and also allow Thrall to deal with the Zagara, who has been able to push up in the top lane.
Yeah, they got the camp cleared out, but Zagara getting that nice network around the map this is where Zagara starts to really, explode and unfold here. And so that's where the creep clear is going to be important. But the thing is, we've got a big push in this bottom lane. They're all actually setting up for maybe a little bit of a flank. Silence going out onto Murden here. Capiche, you think they can do more with this Sundering?
I think they could. They need a couple more seconds before it can all really come online, but the Molten Core coming out from Ragnaros. The swing comes out, but Diablo unstoppable from that Lightning Breath. Lava Wave coming down the lane, catches 2 members. The health bar is still being kept alive by Stukov. Sarah's looking really low. And Gilly Shark now going to back out. Didn't get a fort out of that push, which would have been excellent for them, and was honestly something I was expecting up until that Molten Core ended up being popped out.
And that's the big benefit of having the Ragnaros here. Oh, we actually haven't engaged, though, onto this camp as they want to steal this away. Already being picked up, though, but a lot of damage coming up. The Ring of Frost going to be connecting onto 1. That will be the Purification Salvo onto 3, and Rhaegar is going to be falling as well as Muradin. They get the pick onto Diablo. Souls will be lost, but 2-for-1 trade. I don't know who really wins out in that. Diablo has no souls now.
Yeah, I mean, Diablo has no souls. No one, or, Beast Coast still able to get that camp that Gilly Shark was invading on. So I suppose an even trade in that respect. Gilly Shark trying to get a camp of their own at the bottom, getting that siege camp there. Diablo trying to regain those souls up in the top lane as well. This is going to be a bit tricky for Gilly Shark up until Diablo can really stack up on those souls again, so we're gonna probably see them less aggressive as they have been kind of in the mid part of this game.
Yeah, I think this is kind of where you say, all right, you know what, we take a little bit of a pause, we grab some camps, we get some clear onto the lanes, we get a little bit more of that macro control back, and I think both teams are really realistically looking at the game the same way. You can see the bottom lane actually getting pressured up a little bit more. Maybe they're going to be looking for that fort. They potentially have it. They have a creep. They have a little bit of a wave coming in with them. They also have Mig's damage from that backline. They'll be dropping some Zerg, and yes, the invade will be coming from Gilly Shark, but the thing is they don't have all 5 here. The retreat calls are made. They're fighting under the fort. They're looking for the Muradin. Dwarf Toss is going to be out. Massive Shove won't connect. Monkus is trying to get out of here, getting slowed by a couple of members. They're looking for it. The Ancestral Healing will connect onto them. They're continuing to draw this out as Li Ming is getting a lot of damage here. That will be the Sundering coming out from Zilla. They get the kill onto Li Ming. Purification Salvo on every single member. No, actually, excuse me, the Ragnaros will be falling here, and that is going to be a 2-for-0 trade.
That Sundering flank from Thrall was excellent, and that was great timing. Gilly Shark able to stall just a bit, push back just a bit to make sure that Thrall was able to get in that kind of position, stun the members of Beast Coast, and be able to capitalize on 2 kills from that engagement. So excellent play over there. Gives them the opportunity to maybe poke down more damage onto this bottom fort. But for now, they're going to rotate through mid, help Thrall possibly with either Zagara or to grab a camp of their own before this next shrine activates. And Zagara ends up going down before they can even get there. Gives them a bit more of an option to invade on their opponent's camp before the shrine activates.
Thrall didn't need help from anybody as they went ahead and just squished that bug. Gonna have this camp, though, stolen away, and I like this play. They have the advantage. It's 15-14. They know they can't fight this without their Zagara, as well as the fact is, if they lose a member here, this is going to be an easy 16, but they go for it anyways as they start to do so much damage. The Ring of Frost will be coming out here. Stark so low on health, going to be popping the Lightning Breath as they get the kill onto the Ragnaros here. Diablo will be popped like a pimple, but do they get the kill onto Muradin, Cat Peach?
No, Muradin, not too easy to kill there. Ends up using Dwarf Toss. Health will regenerate, but the camp did get picked up on the side of Gilly Shark, so I would say that is definitely a win for them. The loss on Diablo, again, not as devastating as last time around, but still going to have to wait for him to come join up on this top, on this shrine. But this is giving Gilly Shark an opportunity to start on these skeletal defenders while they have the opportunity without fearing of a Ragnaros Molten Core or Lava Wave during the retreat.
Yeah, I like this. They're just going to go ahead and say, you know what, we need to soak. We'll grab some camps. We'll just try and even this game up, but we'll defend when the Punisher's coming through our top lane. Now, granted, top lane does have that gate, so they've got a lot of value here still. And the one thing I actually want to note, I was looking at this a little bit earlier before we had one of the fights break out. Li Ming went into Glass Cannon at 13. So going for that extra damage and a little bit, you know, squishier, but at the same time, that's the reason we've seen so many members getting popped here, but they're going to leave it at the 39 stacks and go ahead and grab this camp. They do have vision on it from the Zagara, but overall, I'm really curious to see how this Punisher is going to work out. They will go ahead and confirm the Punisher at this time, and they won't be there to push with it.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to push with it, and Li Ming helping to make quick damage come out and really chunk down this Immortal. I don't think Gilly Shark is going to get too much from this. I think the camp call was a bit too ambitious, to be honest. And with the Punisher falling in a mere matter of seconds, with no camp to support it, I think it was a bit of a rush call on the side of Gilly Shark there.
Yeah, I think they were trying to do a few too many things at once, and then they also realized maybe, oh, the longer we just let Zagara have free reign in bottom, the more pressure that's going to be there. You can already see that mid lane and bottom lane have already been pressed out into the keep front gates, as well as these camps there as well. So it's one of those things. I think they realized they're like, well, we can't just stagger this. We can't leave it at 39, go grab a camp and come back, because Zagara will then just take out a keep potentially. But that will be the phase ending, Cat Peach, and Combo Trip's going to need to defend this and heal up.
Yeah, absolutely. The rest of the members of Gilly-Shark finally coming in. Stark with a flip onto Lutheran. Molten Core coming out, stunning. 3 on the side of Gilly-Shark. Stark looking incredibly low, about to fall. Ends up being able to barely get away, but the orb coming out from Li Ming secures the kill. Lava Wave making sure that Gilly-Shark has to retreat from this fight.
Anyone who's in chat saying that orb build is not the way to go, well, that's one for Li Ming, but we actually get a little bit of a reverse here, as they're going to get 2 on the Purification Salvo. That will be the Ancestral Healing coming out onto Murden, keeping them alive, but Rhaegar, we pop massive shove into that wall, just pushing them further away. So 1-for-1 trade. They'll have their Diablo back first, but at this point, this map is really looking in favor for Beast Coast.
Yeah, Gilly-Shark not able to take a single fort so far in this game, while losing all of theirs. A lot of the walls in front of their keeps are also down as well. So going into this next shrine phase, when we're looking at the bottom lane, a little bit of damage already done onto the turrets. So Gilly-Shark needs to make sure that they feel completely in control before this next shrine phase, or that they have everything up and are ready to engage, so that they can secure their first structure of this game and not take any damage to their keep.
And that's the big thing here, I think, for Gilly-Shark, is just making sure they keep their keep safe. If they can't do that, that's when the catapult pressure comes out. Zagara really starts to run away with the macro pressure with the Nidus network, but they see, Monkus sees these members coming in. They're just like, no, we don't want to stagger our death here. Give over the camp, we'll back off. And it's going to be the place for 20s at this point, because neither team really wants to engage, or at least the members of Beast Coast don't want to engage in the Gilly-Shark, and they're going to be chasing a couple kills here. Yeah,
and Gilly-Shark chasing, like you said, trying to make up in a little bit where they can here and there before this shrine is activating. We only have a few seconds before that happens. Not able to make too much happen with that camp, but at least they were able to deny it from their opponents as well. Zagara working on a camp of her own over on the Bruiser side of Beast Coast map. Fight breaking out here down in the mid. Murden really low, backs up, should be able to heal up just fine. Gilly-Shark not able to necessarily get secure kill just yet before the shrine.
Nothing just yet. They were looking for it. I was wondering if they would make the hard rotation to the top to try and pressure that camp, because I was guessing that they knew that the Zagara was there. It wasn't present for any of the fights. There was no map pressure currently happening, so an interesting situation, as Stark is very far forward here, as well as the Murden. They're going to be trying to swap out in positions. Silence going to be coming out. No big kills just yet, but Stark getting a little bit low and getting whittled down here, Cat Peach.
Yeah, getting whittled down, ends up backing up, being able to get that healing from the Stukov. And Ring of Frost being up, Purification Salvo is up, but not too many tools otherwise. Rune going out onto Ragnaros, however. The beautiful Ancestral coming out there. The Ring of Frost not able to secure a death in that, and suddenly Gilly-Shark is on the back foot, as their health bars are extremely low in this situation. Supergoat trying to secure the kill, but just not enough with the Disintegrate.
The massive shove from Kaimlo Tripson just saving Diablo there. If that massive shove didn't connect, that would have been a dead Diablo. They will rotate into the top lane here. I think they've admitted defeat, at least on this Punisher. They'll give over this Mortar Punisher. They'll go ahead and clear out their top wave to make sure they don't lose that to the mercenary camp. They'll have this camp pressure though in mid. But this is a 18-minute Punisher. It's really starting to become powerful, and they want even more with this. They're going to grab the bottom lane camp to just have that walk in with them as well.
Yeah, they are trying to get so much pressure in with this push and in that mid lane as well, to try to split the attention of Gilly-Shark here. So you can either push this or defend this entirely, or try to clear up that mid lane. Either way, we're getting to your core at some point, and we want it now. All members pushing in so hard here in the bottom lane, coming out from Beast Coast. Sundering coming out from Zilla. The Punisher dives onto them. And if Beast Coast can get this keep down, that gives an opportunity for Molten Core to come out if Monkus can actually stay alive. The insane massive shove coming out from Stukov. Monkus in a bit of an island, but the last minute healing from Rhaegar is able to save him, as Lava Wave goes through the top to help assist in the push up there with Zagara.
The push onto Murden with that massive shove actually just disengaged that entire fight, but they do lose their keep. Yes, they will be grabbing this camp, and for Ghillie Shark, I'm just not sure what their best play is. They got 20s, but the thing is, they try and take some of these fights, it just doesn't work out. There is a little bit of a bush party though setting up. Stark is going to be rotating into it. Murden going to get some damage out. Stark going to be taking a lot of damage from the enemy team, and it looks like they're going to be trying to reposition to get out of here. But that is going to be, oh my God, Stark's delivering the Ancestral Healing going to be coming out as well, if I'm not mistaken, and currently going to be having just a big disengage. Purification Salvo came out too. Some R buttons hit, but no kills.
Yeah, a lot of fireworks for not a lot of results. I can't believe Stark was able to get out of that situation as well. The Beast Coast was body blocking him so hard. And for a minute there, their own Phoenix was a little bit as well by accident, but the Purification Salvo follow-up being able to disengage from Beast Coast was spectacularly well played. But they still have that bottom lane that they're going to have to babysit for the rest of this game, so they're going to rotate down, see if they can clear a bit of that as well. But top lane as well, and Beast Coast at this point, they're saying, we've got lanes pushed out in our favor all over the place. We're going to grab these camps, and we're going to wait for you to do something hasty yet again that we can punish you for.
Yeah, I think that's really the only setup they have. If you look at the minimap, it's all red. You can also see all that purple from the just the creep that's been spread by Zagara. This map has been controlled by Beast Coast. As I said, post 10, they really start to just kind of open up what they put together in their draft. The 1 through 10, it seems like they're almost just getting to know how their enemy team is going to play us, and then they just kind of respond throughout the game because they haven't been able to take any good fights from the mid game to late game at this point, and they're just continuing to grab camps and do whatever they want. And the other thing too, they've got vision everywhere, so every time they try and rotate and be sneaky, Zagara's got the vision, they can see it.
Yeah, and the vision is here, but so is Ghillie Shark. Start going in with the Shadow Charge, but a quick disengage from Beast Coast saying this is not really a fight we're willing to take. The Lightning Breath did come out, and Stark is just rendered unstoppable and unmovable for quite a long time, and that's a tool that they're going to have to wait another 50 seconds in order to utilize on this next shrine.
I love the absolute use of that Hellstorm. Just like, well, we popped it. Let's get the clear of the lane with this. Now, the thing is, Zagara's grabbed another camp. They've got Catapult Pressure top and bottom a mounting. Diablo's sitting on the point already, if I'm not mistaken. So we've just got members spread across the map here, and are they not going back to clear? There's catapults on. What is happening?
Ghillie Shark is trying to say we either have to do something now or this game is entirely lost. So I think what they're trying to do is wait for Beast Coast to come in, get a couple picks, and then go deal with Zagara, but she is chunking down Core so badly. Already at 50% health, and she is just going to town. With the addition of catapults, it's just so much damage, 13%. I don't know if Ghillie Shark is going to save that. A rotation a bit too slow there in allowing Beast Coast to take win number 1 in this series, which did not go the way I expected it to go, Bahamut.
Not at all. I really didn't expect that. Was a really late call on the core, and I was just like, why?
That's one of those that you're like, can you race this? Can you initiate a fight fast enough in order to have some kind of advantage? But late game Zagara push damage just way too strong from Beast Coast.
And the other thing too is there were the bottom lane arrived later than the top lane. The top lane had sat there for quite some time and then got a third catapult and just kept pressing and kept doing damage. And so I don't know, maybe it was just they thought that they could just get away with grabbing the Punisher. It just, I don't know, the Punisher would take way too long before the catapults would have cleared the core, especially that late in the game, 22 minutes or so. Everything is scaled up quite a bit, and just maybe it's a little bit of nerves. Maybe it's just like they thought that they had a little bit more of an advantage than they did. Who knows? We'll have to find that out one day. But still, an amazing game between these two teams. An insanely awesome macro play from the Zagara player Mig, and I can't wait to see what we're going to be getting for game number 2 here.
Yeah, absolutely. In game number 2, as we talked about earlier, we are going to be over on Sky Temple. So let's hope that number 1, that we have no more disruptions in our draft this time around. I was looking at the stats earlier and showing those off to the crowd, and Ghillie Shark had twice as many kills on their opponents, but it's, one of those situations that, usually they sometimes line up, but in this situation, kills don't mean anything if you know your opponents are out sieging you.
Yeah, I'm looking over at Twitch chat, and even them even Twitch chat's just like, does Gilly not notice their? I'm still, it's still perplexing to me. I'm just like, I want to know what those comms were like. I'm really curious to know what the idea behind that was. But as you're mentioning, we are going to be going over to Sky Temple, a fairly large map, a big macro play that we're going to see here as well. Do we see maybe, again, the Zagara? Do we see a ban onto that? What's the priority for Dehaka here as well? It's another map where he gets a lot of value. You and I playing team lead together, you know I like to play Falstead here. I think he's a great hero. I should have my aviation license taken away for that, but it's still a great map for to see a lot of that global pressure. I don't think it's anywhere we won't like see a Brightwing or anything. Even though that is pretty much all of Gilly-Shark's portraits and sprays.
We don't see the fairy dragon too often here.
Not with the support pool that we have these days. I gotta say, like Deckard Cain coming out, and then we're gonna have Miss Sally Whitemane is gonna be coming into the Nexus as well very, very soon. Or actually, well, she's already here, coming into competitive Nexus, I guess you could say. But even then, like I think that these I think that the healers that we currently have, in comparison to what we previously had, need some adjusting on that Brightwing.
Yeah, maybe just a little. I would love to see Brightwing come back, but as you said, between the support pool and then just the other dominant globals present in the game right now, not too much of an option for her to come out as often as we like. As you mentioned, though, in a couple weeks, Whitemane joining in. How much do you think that she is going to disrupt a lot of the current picks that we've been seeing so far in this league?
I think she's going to shuffle up a lot of the support priority. I think when she comes out, she will be in the early pick slots. Mostly just because I think there's going to be some synergies that people are going to want to grab right off the bat and not have it banned out. I think in a brawly type setting, she is extremely strong. But at the same time, I wonder, I'm not sure myself, does she need to be having some sort of second support with her? And do we need to, adjust and look back and say, does double support kind of come back in this scenario? I know a lot of people hated it, but with the way that she plays, it kind of feels like sometimes she needs a little bit extra. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Maybe you play with more of a sustained comp yourself.
I've been seeing a lot of Whitemane Ana compositions on a lot of the streams I check out. Apparently, if you nano boost Whitemane with some crazy set of talents that she has, she just obliterates the enemy team. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see where she's going to end up disrupting things. But for the time being, thinking about this game over on Sky Temple, what are some adjustments that need to come out of Gilly-Shark? Do they do something a bit more wacky? Is this an opportunity for Stark to pull out that Sumeru? But as we saw, he did play the Diablo last time around. So has Stark taken up the main tank position on his team? It's hard to say. It's still early. Perhaps it's more of a flex scenario, but with a different roster, perhaps that's not going to be an option.
Well, I think tonight we're gonna get a sub. We have a sub on the side of Gilly-Shark. I think it is Zilla, if I'm not mistaken. We often see Jinxie Cat playing the tank for the members of Gilly-Shark. And so I had noticed, I was just like, wait, how is she in Twitch chat? Oh, she's not playing. Because I'm used to that core roster, seeing it every single time. So it didn't throw me off until like the last second. I was just like, oh yeah, all right. But I don't know. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head right away. It's just, I think they need to just back up and just play this as a macro game. They play this around the objective. They play this around trying to out-rotate. Samuro, a really great option, but as you noted, maybe Stark needs to be on the main tank in this scenario here. We're not going to get a ban onto Zagara. Now, granted, not an early pick hero, but at the same time, I don't know what Gilly-Shark could have adjusted from that last game to really take away from the creep. Maybe that is where the Dehaka gets some priority, because Dehaka can clear creep extremely quickly, and that W is off cooldown fairly often. But a first pick Jaina for the members of Beast Coast, they want to go with that damage output right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. And lots of follow-up there available for the Jaina. We can see what we had last time around in Gilly-Shark with that Phoenix, or we could just see something entirely else. We might see a beautiful Garrosh come into play with a flip and a slow to allow some other assassin to come in as well. Abathur picked up for Gilly Shark. Which, with the size of this map and with the focus of particular lanes during those shrine phase, could work out. It's not something I think I've necessarily seen from them in the past.
I can't remember the last Abathur Gilly Shark game that I've seen, and I can't remember the last Sky Temple Abathur match that I've seen, especially in the Nexus Gaming series. So I think this is a great start right here. The Thrall on that as well. I'm just looking over at the members of Beast Coast, though. They've got this Jaina Ragnaros once again on that Ragnaros, and then Muradin on top of that. And so in the last game, we saw Ragnaros and Muradin doing a phenomenal job, and now they're going to be picking up this Jaina, but the Zagara bait comes out. They're like, you know what? We're going to try and out-macro you with this Abathur. Have fun not having Zagara, but hey, we'll see if they can bust out something different here.
Yeah, and you were talking about it before, and I was wondering if maybe the Zagara wasn't something that Beast Coast was planning on picking up, but now they've just put the fear into their opponent's head to say, you saw how this performed last time around, so now you have to potentially waste a ban on something that we dominated with, or not necessarily dominated, but had really solid map control with, which then allows Beast Coast to come in and say, just kidding, we're going to pick something far more normal, far more meta, far less risky than something like that. So we're gonna have to see if maybe something weird comes in to replace the Zagara. And with the warrior pool getting dwindled down very quickly, I wonder what this really leaves Gilly Shark with. We still have Garrosh on the table, but Diablo pulled out, we have a Nubarak pulled out, and that Muradin gone. That's a lot of the main warriors that we see in the game right now.
The Nubarak, I was like, wow, what are they afraid of getting shut down here? And then I was like, are they going to Cho'Gall? But I was like, well, they don't have a support, so they're not going to Cho'Gall. Because I was just like, that's often what you see is that a Nubarak for the shutdown. But, all right. Lili going to be picked up here for some blinds. And,
wow. Tyrael coming out. This is an old school draft coming out from Gilly Shark, I feel.
I don't know how to feel about either of these drafts. The Lili, I don't know, like it's untargeted healing. That has always been my gripe and my issue with her is you can't prioritize your healing. In some of the team fights, the burst might be a little bit too much for her. Greymane offers that burst. Thrall can set up for it. So I don't know who takes this map, but we definitely have an interesting setup between these two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we saw a bit of Tyrael making a reappearance over at the Western Clash this weekend, so maybe that's gotten in Gilly Shark's head a little bit, saying maybe we can pull this out, but you can never discount Holy Ground whenever Tyrael is coming out, and I think that's going to be a strong tool, especially when we're talking about control of that boss on Sky Temple, which is such an important aspect, and also just denying your opponent's escape or entrance into those temples as well. But like you said, like the Lili heals are going to be scary and dangerous, and we're gonna have to see if Greymane could take advantage of that.
I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of the Lili heals and if it's going to be enough for Beast Coast. But hey, they were strong in the last game. We'll see what they can do here. Cat Peach, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the left, we do have Gilly Shark yet again. Kaimo Tripson this time will be on Uther. We have Kage Kiri on Abathur. Zilla will be on Thrall. Chess Looter will be on Greymane. And Stark on Tyrael.
And on the right-hand side, we are going to be having Beast Coast up one game, seeing if they can take a second, with Lothern going to be on the Muradin, Sears going to be on the Lili, Sipagoat going to be on the Jaina, Monkus will be on that Ragnaros, and Meg is going to be on the Phoenix.
Monkus was such a good Ragnaros last game. Like, even not thinking about clearing opponent's immortal or anything like that, just so many clutch opportunities to take advantage of that lovely meteor that he has, that meatball rolling around the ground, being able to rotate a lot, get those camps. And hello?
Yeah,
really?
my jaw's on the floor too. They were going for a fort, and I guess they extended a little too far there, or what? But it's not going to pay off, as Beast Coast says, you want to take our tower, how about we just take your entire mid-gate? They do defend this here, but that's an interesting start here, to go ahead and have that death from the gate. I don't know.
Yeah, My only guess, because we were reviewing it, is maybe Gilly-Shark thinking, or perhaps start overthrowing Eldruin a little bit, and it catching in a weird way and throwing him over to the other side. But not the way you necessarily want to start out a game when you're already down 1 in a series, for sure. So Gilly-Shark just needs to reset, take a deep breath, not let it get to them too much. It is an early game death, and hopefully it shouldn't be too indicative of how the rest of this game is going to play. At least hopefully not.
Now that early game death is going to yield only 301 experience for the enemy, or for the members of Beast Coast here. So Gilly-Shark not going to be too far behind, but you can see that experience kind of switching over, because you will have that Abathur pressure the entire time, as bottom lane still seems to be the main sort of contest for Gilly-Shark. They really want to pressure this down here. Beast Coast going to step up, try and get some damage on some of these members and back them off. But at this point, we have a little bit of a stalemate. Some poke coming out from Sepago, but not enough to get a kill just yet.
Yeah, not enough just yet, and I do like, again, the focus on the spot lane for Gilly-Shark. It does seem like that boss play is kind of their win condition with this composition and their focus right now in mind, so we'll have to see if Beast Coast is able to thwart them in that. So far, being able to pick up the camp and push them back a bit has definitely helped push this lane back in their favor. But Gilly-Shark is going to have to be careful of spreading those resources a bit too thin, given that they are going to be one person down in these team fights in this game overall, given that they don't have necessarily the body of Abathur always present in these situations.
The nice thing is with that, though, typically what we see in this first phase is an Abathur going down to bottom lane to go ahead and body soak that, but we currently have a huge pressure from the members of Beast Coast. They want to open this up more, and the big thing is just taking down the gates, taking down sidewalls. That opens up opportunities for Beast Coast to snipe that Abathur, and that's really the play that you want to look for, and just shutting down that experience gain. Currently, have Uther sitting on this mid lane point. No one on the top just yet. Abathur going to continue to soak from mid. And rotations slowly coming up for both teams. We'll see how they kind of spread themselves across this objective phase.
Yeah, vision grab for Beast Coast by Phoenix, who's now going to come join the rest of the members of their team. Monga's a bit low. I'm going to try to see what they can do, but not too much damage going on there. Gilly-Shark going to back off just a bit and give this mid shrine back over to Beast Coast for the time being, while Thrall works on that top shrine.
And this is typically what we see teams do. We just see them go ahead and grab a little bit from each one, just kind of play back and forth. We actually have Thrall leaving the top. A bit of a fight breaking out over this mid shrine. No kills, but the members of Gilly-Shark getting weakened here, whittled down a little bit. Meanwhile, though, just really quickly to note, we do have that pressure mounting in bottom lane from Kaimo, or excuse me, from the Abathur. I don't actually remember who off the top of my head is playing them. Kagekiri. But definitely getting a lot of pressure with that Abathur here. Overall, though, I think the main phase of this objective has gone over in favor for the members of Beast Coast, as Ragnaros pops the Molten Core to defend the bottom lane, and Muradin will be stepping up as well.
Yeah, giving up the shrines to go again focus on this bottom lane on the side of Gilly-Shark, and they weren't able to secure the fort, but it's still a good amount of damage to force a response. Thrall is pushed up a bit back here in the top lane, not able to do too much, just trying to protect that precious fort this time around. But with 2 and soon to be 3 members of Beast Coast coming in, that is going to be the second structure that falls this game. Camp Evade looks like it tried to be executed on the side of Beast Coast, which ends up being punished by Gilly-Shark in the time being. Lathirin trying to escape, but the chase from Gilly-Shark is a bit too much. And that is 2 heroes down for Beast Coast, and after losing that much experience on the shrines, is maybe the push that Gilly-Shark needs to feel a bit more confident and to feel a bit more in control in this game.
I think that's the big thing too, is if they seem like when they have map control, they have, well, smooth and clear kind of direction and decisions. When they're kind of playing on their back foot, it seems like a little bit they kind of rush ideas, and they try and just get ahead a little bit by just trying to get that one little pick, or just maybe playing a little too safe or a little too aggressive in some situations. Chesslooter going to go ahead and get the swipe out there. I didn't think it went in the right direction, but everyone going to make the disengage just fine. 9.5 to 9.5 for both teams, and we are going to be looking for a big old fight in this bottom lane fairly soon. Top lane, though, needs to be cleared out by Zilla as quickly as possible so that Abathur can come up here and body soak this while the altar phase will be starting. I would say a solid minute.
Yeah, Ming and Zilla just duking it out up on top for most of this game so far, with rotations only in situations where really Phoenix has been the one to come down. And, you know, when we're looking at the solo temple phase, we're really going to see up until 10, which thankfully just came up now, the lack of that body. So now that level 10 is online, that we have that ultimate evolution, Gilly-Shark can now feel like they can have these engagements and not necessarily be walking into a trap that they can't win.
That's, yeah, it's 10 to 10. We currently have Lava Wave down. I'm excited about this Ultra phase. I'm just curious to see who's really going to get the big pick here. And Stark's still holding that level 10. Do we get a judgment? Do we get a sanctification?
Who would the judgment be
on?
All right, it is sanctification. Earthquake coming out, but so are the jugs actually. And Planet Cracker coming in, doing lots of damage, but the sanctification comes out simply to nullify that. And that was a beautiful proc there by Stark, being able to negate that damage. Molten Core being popped on the side from Monkus, though, being able to slowly damage the members of Gilly-Shark, who are still in control of the shrine for the time being, and are now setting their eyes up onto this fort here.
Yeah, burning it down before the temple gets the burn onto it is just saving a couple shots. It's that little min-maxing you can do, and I absolutely love the plays that they're pulling out here on the side of Gilly-Shark. Now, Beast Coast, down by half a level. They are all back and alive at this point, but this is really the threshold where we often see them get their advantage, but they don't want to allow that to happen as they go ahead and dive onto Monkus, and that will be a kill for Gilly-Shark. Cleanse coming out onto Zilla, and they back right out of here. And I think that's what they want to do on the side of Gilly-Shark. You had asked me what do they need to do to respond to Beast Coast from that game one, which was fairly strong from them, and it's this. They need to play these aggressive games, and they need to keep pressuring them, keep staggering these deaths, and not allowing them to really go beyond their gates. Like you can see on the minimap, they're all turtled up. They won't even leave just from their gate range.
Yeah, and that definitely is the safe call. And we're going to have to see, you know, can Gilly-Shark keep up on those dives? Because that was a beautiful dive that came out from Chest Looter to pick off that Ragnaros and really take advantage of the fact that Lili can't necessarily burst heal as quickly or as efficiently as other healers like we talked about. I like the hiding in the bush from both teams here. We're going to have to see who wants to pounce first. Gilly-Shark does have 13 already, so this is their opportunity to continue this advantage that they currently set for themselves, at least a little bit, as they seem to get more control of this map, of this game, slowly but surely.
Yeah, having that holy ground on Tyrael there is going to be a big aspect for the members of Gilly-Shark. They have, this is, you know, you had mentioned it in draft, being able to control, to split and peel with that holy ground. That's a huge asset for them on the side of Gilly-Shark. And the other thing too, they retain really strong boss control at this point. Sanctification as well as the holy ground. It's going to be hard to step onto this. And you kind of see both teams posturing around this, but they're really not wanting to step too far forward. 13s for both teams. Question is, who starts the fight and who's going to be rotating into top lane for that altar?
I'm holding my breath a little bit here because I'm almost afraid to make a guess either way. Gilly-Shark coming the back way around, trying for the gank. Stark, eyes set, gonna go in onto Monkus. The dive coming out as well. Earthquake comes out to make sure that he can't escape, and he is the first to fall in this fight. Lili with the jugs ends up coming out, but Gilly-Shark is now on the chase as the members of Beast Coast are going into Gilly-Shark's side of the map and end up trying to turn back around, but that was such a dangerous spot for them to be in, a dangerous direction for them to go, but they had no option. They're able to pick off the Jaina, and the rest of the members of Beast Coast are now running for their lives as Greymane is attempting to make something happen, but not enough additional lockdown. Phoenix goes for the temple to try to get as many shots as possible, but this is giving Gilly-Shark exactly what they wanted, and it is this boss here in the bottom lane that we've been talking about.
This boss in the bottom lane, the picks that they've been getting, they're so extremely strong. Now, we do have Meal from the Abathur, so that's probably going to be coming out and saving a little bit of one of these forts, or at least the keep front gates. But that one thing that's what you noted, Lili can't burst heal, and this damage that comes out, yes, you have the cup of 1,000 nopes, or the jug of 1,000 nopes, or however you want to call it. But
of 1,000 nopes.
Just you know, denying kills. Just nope, you don't get that kill. Nope.
I've never heard it called that before.
one of those situations where, that won't be enough because it is still single target healing. Yes, it is a lot, but when you split like that, and, Jaina had the right idea going into the top, but the rest of the team didn't follow. They just did that 180, and Jaina getting picked off by Thrall in that situation. It's a great play from Gillishark, and this is what we had talked a little bit about.
Yeah, that was
aggressive. Yeah, this is what they got to do.
Yeah, that was almost like a yakety sax moment, I feel like, when they suddenly realized we're walking into our enemy's fort and we are going to die if we keep walking into this direction. So that was such a beautiful trap. I think that might be the play of this game. If Beast Coast can't find the upper foot, they were controlling this game very early on, which sometimes does happen when your opponent has an Abathur. Kakegiri taking a nap there, hatting the rest of his teammates. But 16 coming for Gillishark is, again, giving them an advantage to set up a trap just like this to try to catch a member of Beast Coast out of position and continue this level soak lead that they've earned from themselves.
The other thing too, I just really want to quickly shout out to the to Kaimo Tripson on that Uther giving the Divine Shield to Chest Looter on the Greymane. It was such a strong play because no one can interrupt Greymane from just dealing all the damage to you. There's no stuns, there's no roots, there's nothing you can do. It's just continual. It's just the arsenal of damage coming out. So I like that. Just those little things during these fights are really, really strong for these teams. Now the big question is, what will Beast Coast do with these 16s? Even talent tier, we know that they're a strong fighting team. They're getting caught out in these rotations, and so do they need to play a little bit safer? And I think that's actually kind of what they're doing. They're setting up in this bush, waiting for Gillishark to make some rotation, but right beneath them is Stark, also sitting in a bush.
They sense, I think, the pattern of Gillishark hiding in these bushes, trying to make a play happen. And both teams have actually been doing it all game long, and it's more about who shows first. And so far, Gilly has been able to proc that earlier, but the Planet Cracker coming out. Jaina is going to be the first to fall, however, not enough to chase that away. The Sanctification hasn't been popped just yet either, so perhaps Stark can negate some of this damage coming out from Molten Core if they choose. Kakegiri, clone was popped, going to damage this Ragnaros a bit, but not too much else happening over the course of this fight, however.
Yeah, the Abathur clone will be ending there, and just... It was actually crazy because you had noted that the Sanctification didn't go up, but Planet Cracker was there. During that entire thing, Planet Cracker was going, there were no big heals, there was no big damage deny, and that kind of shows how much Gillishark are just like, the Planet Cracker isn't really anything we're too afraid of. They almost all stacked on top of it, took the damage, and continued to fight. But we will have the single altar phase in top lane. Phoenix in that bottom trying to push up and get a little bit of value here that should probably be denied by the Abathur eventually. They also have Mule too, so whatever is kind of taken out here can probably be wiped clean easily. But this is going to be the top temple going over for Gillishark. They're going to have to sacrifice a little damage in bottom lane, but they might be getting a kill onto the Muradin if they don't get this Dwarf Toss over the wall.
Yeah, Stark trying to body plot, but the Dwarf Toss just enough to get Muradin out of that situation. But this camp push in the top lane is beating up this gate so fast, and with the additional help that came from the temple so far, made that go a bit easier. Muradin ends up getting caught out and focused down upon Stark with a beautiful holy ground in between the fountain and the keep. Lily ends up being the focus. Jaina now trying to run for her life. Gillishark looking to get this keep and then recapture the rest of that temple, and maybe actually they're just gonna try to end the game, Bahamut.
They go ahead and they drop the Earthquake. There was also the Sanctification came out. That's also going to be the Planet Cracker. They're just like, all right, we'll just rotate around to this side of the core and continue to do damage. The only thing is they've lost their Abathur clone. They're starting to get a little bit low here. Zilla's going to get some healing. That will also be the hat coming out as well. Kaimo Tripson trying to get these autos off. Thrall will be falling at this time. Uther going to be falling as well. That's going to be Greymane on top of that. Stark, the only one alive, going to have those ghost heals as well as the Abathur hat, and just going to end it like that. GG's to both teams as this is a 1-1.
Wow, you couldn't see because you can't see my camera, but my jaw was on the ground because I was so scared that was going to be a hasty call coming out from Gillishark, that they were going to entirely wipe and not be able to do that. But in that situation, even if Stark went down, you have that trait from Tyrael being able to explode the rest of that core. So, just showing how to really go across that Abathur composition. Expect to maybe be down early on because you don't have that body and those tools to deal with certain amounts of pressure, but being able to turn around once you have that clone.
Yeah, and then that's the big thing is you're literally playing a safe game till 10. And Sky Temple, it's a great map for that. These larger maps, because you don't get, a huge push into bottom lane. Like, for example, Braxis Holdout, you can't run the Abathur there because you just get pushed into lane. Now, unless you are that confident that your team will get every single one of, the beacon phases, you won't get pushed in by the Zerg wave, it makes sense. But this is just one of those maps where there was so much value. And actually, I don't know if you got the message, but we currently have one person being sent for interview. I don't know if you want to jump up to a different lobby.
Yeah, let's jump up to lobby 1, and we will have an interview with someone from Gillieshark shortly. Yeah, and you hinted at it, and I never got to come back to it, but when Phoenix had that purification salvo, you were talking about how seemingly no heals or anything was coming out from Gillieshark, but also not really a lot of damage, or sorry, from the Planet Cracker either. Like, it really didn't do all that much. It didn't really thwart that push entirely, so it was a very interesting call, although there were no additional, slowing mechanics, so I don't think Purification Salvo would have necessarily added too much value there, but it's hard to tell sometimes.
From Jaina could have got a little bit of slow, but at this time we're actually going to be joined by Stark, and we can ask all the questions we want. Finally, Stark, hello, congratulations on victory.
Thanks.
How are you feeling after all that?
I'm ecstatic.
I'm still a little iffy on the first game, but honestly, game 2 went exactly as planned. So.
Yeah, let's talk about game 1 for a bit. I don't think either of us are really expecting that Zagara pick. Is that something that you at all maybe thought Beast Coast was going to pull out? And what were your thoughts on it when they said they were going to pull her out?
We did a little bit of research, and I'm pretty sure we found a Zagara in one of their casted games. So we were aware that it was a thing, and we thought we had planned well against it, I suppose, and we misexecuted, I feel.
Yeah, what we were talking about a lot of the combination potential that you had. We did see the Sundering come out. Was that part of the plan, or was that more of an adaptation of Thrall, given the Phoenix and the Jaina that you felt was necessary against the Ragnaros and the Zagara in their team composition?
So shout out to Zilla. He's one of our new guys. Does a great job. Thrall's one of his favorites. He just likes Sundering.
That's
pretty much it. We played a few times with Earthquake, and with that composition, I think we would have wanted Earthquake, and I guess we had it in game 2, huh? But he just prefers Sundering, and between Lightning Breath, the Jaina being a hero that exists, and something else we had a lot of slows. I think everything. Oh yeah, Stukov, he's CC Central. So yeah, I think we had enough slows that he felt that he'd do good with Sundering. So we opted for it.
Yeah, play the tools that you're comfortable with is definitely a good mantra to follow. Bahamut, questions for Stark?
Yeah, I still it's still on game number 1. I hate to harp on it like this, but we were trying to figure it out and just all the kind of setup around it away. What happened at the end? What was the core call on the Zagara, and then the call to go and head to the Punisher? What was that all about? Can you talk about that? I'm so sorry if I'm killing you for this.
Nah, that's fine. I'm just trying to remember perfectly. So we were 5 on the shrine, and we had both keeps going or gone, like very gone. They were like hella dead.
Yeah.
Like, the waves were pushing in. Zagara was missing, and we assumed she was going to push. I just didn't think that much damage was going to happen that quickly.
Okay,
frankly.
Yeah, because I looked at the mini map and I was like, there's like 2 or 3 catapults on core, and then Zagara was you had just started the Punisher, and Zagara was starting to, as you basically said, it's like, oh, Zagara's just gonna push bottom, but then once she got there were already still catapults pushing, and just that was.
I felt like at that stage of the game we were behind enough that I felt defending the Zagara was a play that we could make to not lose the game. The play to win as opposed to not lose. That was my angle. But I realized that it was also like we had maybe a 5% chance with that. But I feel like at that stage the game was already done and dusted. Like they had well and truly won the game probably like 4 levels before that moment, and we were just trying to get something anywhere. But
just keep the bleeding
turns out
from getting
Meridian,
too
if Meridian's
confused.
in every single bush on the map, then you can't really do much. So
That is true too. And now going into game number 2, you and even Twitch chat was saying it, you all adapted, and Cat Peach and I talked a little bit about this in the draft, and she was saying, what are the things that you need to do? And as the game progressed, both of us kind of just came to the conclusion that you all were just like, well, we'll just play aggressive. They can't play off their back foot, and you all play very strong off of that. I think most teams do, but was that the adaptation? Can you talk a little bit about how did you came out so much more aggressive in game 2 than it was in game 1, and the picks were really, really well calculated. Can you just talk a little bit about that kind of bringing it back for that?
I think the first thing that I will say is thank you to my team for persuading me to very reluctantly ban Zagara.
we were predicting whether or not that
yeah.
was going to happen, and I think once they pulled out the Ragnaros, it was a possibility.
Yeah, I didn't like doing it, but
no one does. No one does.
But it was necessary, so I think that's the first thing. Yeah, for a while we had known that this week we wouldn't have our main solo laner and we wouldn't have our main tank, so it was sub-central for this week. We were, what can we make work? And then we were just like, let's pick some stuff that's fun, and we ran this in quick match. Then we're like, this is fun. We can do this. This is very China, which is I think my personal favorite part about this comp is it's so China. You just go and then you keep going and then you keep going and then you keep going.
Oh yeah, it's the pressure from the Greymane, the Tyrael, and you have Abathur just consistently soaking, and then Uther.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I loved the plays from Kymo Tripson dropping the Divine Shield onto Chess Looter and then just having them go wild because there was nothing they could have done.
Yeah, it's Greymane. You have 7 seconds to do whatever you want.
Yep.
What would you like to do? And it's like, well, I'll
A lot
call
of
maybe 3
damage.
of their team. Yeah, and I think it worked out pretty well because I think my Uther's like, oh, not my Uther, but my Tyrael's level 60-ish, so I've played him.
Respect.
And we were just like, yeah, we're gonna Divine Shield first, and that's it. I know that the Divine Shield will be there, and I just have faith in Kymo Tripson that the Divine Shield will be there. So I'm just gonna sit and wait, and I'll hang out with Greymane, and I'll watch him be invincible for a bit. And then I'll make him invincible for a bit more.
Very
that was
cool.
about it.
Very cool. Well, thank you for joining us. Did you have one more question? Sorry.
No, I'm all set. I was gonna pass it right back over to you.
Okay. So I'm actually gonna pass it over to Stark for shoutouts before we let you go.
Oh, sweet. Shout out to my team for making through game 1. It was rough, but we did it. And game 2 went like, honestly, that was the best iteration of that strategy we've ever done. Because we had it yesterday where I was like, hey, I'm going to Sanct on you, Chess. And he's like, sweet. And then I got Haymakered. And he's like, where's the Sanct? I'm under the fort. Where's the Sanct? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I got Haymakered. Sorry. So that went super good. So shout out to the team. Shout out to Gillyweed for being you, I guess. You're cool.
Pretty cool individual, we'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, what else do I do? Oh, shout out to Max and Dakota, our players who weren't here. Thank you for cheering us on and probably eating nice food in restaurants or whatever you two are doing. So sweet. Did I shout out you guys? You guys cast well, I'm sure. I wasn't watching the cast, but I'll go and make sure.
We'll find out when we all get to watch it later on.
Yeah, shout out to the other guys. They played good.
Yeah, awesome.
Zagara was annoying.
You heard it, Zagara annoying, straight from Stark himself. So thank you very much, Stark. Good luck for the rest of your games in this current round. And actually, I think this is your second for the round, so I think you might be almost done. But good luck in your games going forward. Yeah, so good luck tomorrow. And thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, see you guys later.
All right, see ya.
Have a great night. Thank you.
All right, we are going to get ready for our second game of the evening, which is going to transition over to Division D, where we're going to have Missed My E versus the Found Vikings. But in between that, in case folks are dropping off, Bahamut, do you want to tell the kind folks who are over here where they can find you if they don't know already?
Yeah, if you want to find me casting, you can go find me at Bahamut Gaming. That's Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, anything that's just, if you want to follow me and find me, that is the easiest way to get to it. I see that you also dropped a link in Twitch chat, so you can go ahead, follow that link, and yeah, follow me on all those places. I do casting. Cat Peach and I, we co-cast together. We kind of make it our Wednesday thing to do, so follow here and also follow there because it's either or channel. I think we're going to be swapping back and forth throughout the season, but yeah, I am ecstatic about game number 2, and I'm not going to hold this up any longer.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back around 6 p.m. for that second match, so stay tuned.